Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to be taking a look at the magnificent Acer Nitro RG240Y BMIIX. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're going to be taking a look at this great monitor from Acer. Now this monitor isn't the latest and greatest, but it's one which I've had on my kind of periphery for a while now, and I've recently got rid of an older 27-inch monitor, so I wanted something a little bit newer, a little bit more modern, and something with an IPS display. So this actually fits the bill perfectly. At the moment in the UK you can pick this up from anywhere from around about the £115 mark. I actually paid a little bit more than that. Paid about 125, but I got free shipping, so kind of take that into consideration. I will put affiliated links in the description below so you can check out local pricing in your area. But for me, this actually ticks a lot of boxes. It's a 23.8 inch screen, or 24 inch for argument's sake. It's a full HD panel, so 1920 by 1080. It has IPS, so fantastic color reproduction, and not quite as kind of blurred out as some of those VA or TN panels. You do get a slight trade-off with that, whereas you don't get quite the high refresh rate, but this is a 75hz FreeSync monitor. So if FreeSync is important to you and you're running a AMD graphics card, or even a NVIDIA graphics card with limited support, this is going to be great for you and certainly will be a noticeable upgrade from those standard 60hz panels. So other points of interest is a zero frame design, which is a little bit misleading in my opinion. It's got very, very narrow bezels, but on closer examination you do notice that the glass front actually does cover up a little bit of the bezel also. So when the actual monitor is off, it looks like there's about a 1mm edge around the outside, but when you turn the power on, there's also a slightly inner bezel as well, which slightly detracts from it, but certainly isn't noticeable, and it only adds maybe another 2 or 3mm to the bezel. At the bottom of the screen you've got this rather unobtrusive kind of chin section, and also this houses the buttons for the on-screen display, which is a little bit fiddly, but not the worst I've used, certainly better than some of the AOC monitors I've used recently. The stand itself is very stable, and as you can see there's pretty minimal wobble to it, even though it is a very light and very elegant design. It is relatively sturdy on the desktop. The stand itself comes in two pieces and is easily put together with a simple thumb screw, which we'll take a look at in a minute. One of the key selling features for me for this personally is the fact of its price and the features, but also it looks really good. So if you've got this in maybe an office or a workplace or whatever and you want something to look quite fancy, I think this actually ticks the box and does the job really nicely. It is an extremely narrow frame. As we see, if we turn this around, you get an idea of actually how narrow it actually is. It is very, very narrow, so only about 3 or 4mm wide at its thinnest point, so it looks really sharp. And moving around to the back of the monitor, you can see we've got this Acer logo. There's a kind of, I'm not even sure what the effect is here, but there's a slight effect to this section here where it raises out, where you've got all the connectivity and all the kind of control panel and all that kind of stuff hidden in between here. You have got the option for a vessel mount if you wanted to, so the stand easily removes. There's just a flick switch on the bottom, so you can just pull the monitor straight out. So if you don't like the stand, or you want to use maybe 2 of these on a monitor stand, you can do so very easily. Moving over to connectivity, got some pretty decent connectivity considering its price and also the features. You've got 2 HDMI ports, both of which support FreeSync. You've got a standard VGA port if you're going slightly old school. You've also got a headphone jack and also a pass-through for the audio. There are speakers built in. To be honest with you, they're not particularly good, but they are certainly usable. They're not as good as the speakers in my previous monitor, which was a 27-inch, but again, this is very modern looking, so some things do have to be taken away. But I think most people, if you're using this as a gaming monitor, there's a very strong chance that you're going to be using a gaming headset, so the speakers aren't really one of those things which is going to be make or break on this kind of deal, but it's nice to have if you're trying to get some audio out or maybe watch a movie with friends. Power is taken care of with a single barrel connector, and there is a separate power pack, which in some cases I actually prefer, because if something goes wrong with it in the future, you can quite easily replace a power pack, whereas if the power unit goes on a normal monitor where you've got it inbuilt, basically the whole thing's a write-off, so for me that is actually a plus point. There is a Kensington lock if you wanted to use it to secure the monitor to a desk for security features, but other than that, that is pretty much the I/O. So this is with the monitor powered up, and I'm powering it from my desktop, which is behind. This is on a Radeon RX 580 4GB with Freesync, so you get all those nice features in it. And Freesync actually automatically enables itself both on the monitor and also the AMD driver, so you've got no problems with setting up. Very simple to do. So let's take a quick look at the menus and the on-screen display. Now the buttons are actually underneath here. So the first one along this edge is the power button, so don't press that one by mistake because you won't get the menu, you'll basically turn it off. Nice thing is, well, when the monitor is actually off, there are no lights on the bottom of the display. When you power it on, there is a very minimal blue LED. So again, if this is going to be maybe in your bedroom or something and you leave it powered on, you're not going to be distracted by the standby light or anything like that. So looking at the on-screen display, press the button and then you get the options, and it points to the buttons underneath. So there's 5 buttons underneath to control it from. So if you go into the end one, you can go into things like your different modes. So there's a selection of modes already there. In the modes display, you've got various options here. You've got action, racing, sports, a user-defined one, which you can save. You've also got the standard mode, eco mode, graphics, and movie. And I found actually in standard mode is absolutely perfect. I haven't needed to change any of the color settings straight out of the box. For me personally, the colors look absolutely fantastic. And when we've watched either a movie on it or played some games, I found the colors and the reproduction to be absolutely brilliant. I've had no issues there whatsoever. Also in the menu, you've got options for brightness, volume, and obviously your HDMI inputs or your VGA input. Or also you can go into the additional menu, in which case here you've got things for picture, color, audio, gaming, on-screen display, system, and information. And you can change all the usual things, brightness, contrast, black boost, all those kinds of things. But again, pretty much I've left it totally as standard. And overall, I'm very impressed. For the money which I paid, was about £125. I think this is fantastic. Other options on the market around about the sort of 125 to 150 range are actually very, very similar in specs. So there's a few to choose from. There is one from Yamaha, which is the G Master, the 24-inch, which is again very, very similar. The only difference is you lose one of the HDMI ports, but you gain a display port. Again, I'll put a link to that as well, just in case you want to check out if display port is your thing. But overall, very impressed. I really do like the look of it. The colour reproduction from the IPS is brilliant. The viewing angles, even from this very, very acute angle here, I can still see the screen pretty clearly. And you don't have to be completely face on in front of it to get a nice, clear, crisp display. For gaming as well, I play a lot of Rocket League, and obviously that is a fast-moving game, and it actually handles that extremely well. You do have a 1 millisecond response with VRB technology, so that actually reduces some of the latency that you will get from your graphics card and from your games and all that kind of stuff, and I find it to work very well. Again, you can turn off FreeSync if you want to, and then you can push your frame rates up as high as you like. Personally, myself, I like to limit my frame rates to reduce the load on the graphics card, but all down to personal preference, and all those different preferences are easily catered for on this great monitor. So just to go through it again, so we've got an IPS panel, 24-inch, FreeSync compatible, dual HDMI, built-in speakers, VESA mount, 1 millisecond response time, great for gaming, great for productivity use. If you're a video editor or something like that, you're going to have no issues with color reproduction. If you're a gamer, you're going to really enjoy those fast, crisp response times. So overall, I think it's a fantastic monitor. It ticks all the boxes that I needed, hence why I bought one. So if you want to check one out for yourself, again, there will be affiliated links in the video description below. You can check those out. But in the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.